What's up, guys? Welcome back to Project Driver. I wanted to introduce to you a project that I'm super excited about that I've been waiting a very long time to do. And this is my 2004 Volkswagen Golf R32. I've owned this car since 2015 and I've been waiting a very long time to do something special with it, and we're finally here. So the plan with this car is we are going to pull out the 3.2 and we're going to be installing a 3.6 naturally aspirated. We're going to convert it to port injection, put it on a proper standalone ECU, do flex fuel, and make a car that I can take to the track. I can do hill climb racing, and I can also daily drive and have fun with it when the weather's nice. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to start out by getting the car on scale so we can figure out where it is now, and then see how light we can get it and see if we can improve the balance of the car. Okay, perfect. Well, here we are many months later, just to give you guys an update on the R32 project, 3.6 swap, kind of let you know what's going on. Not a ton of progress has been made, but, or it doesn't look like a ton of progress, but a bunch of time has been spent. So some things that are obviously gonna jump out at you right away is gonna be the start of the intake manifold, which I've been working with Nubs to design an intake manifold for it. Right now he's working on the rest of the plenum design, which we're kind of figuring some things out on that. We're gonna do some test fitting later this week actually, so hopefully we'll get the ball rolling on that. So the next thing that I've been working on is the cooling system, getting that finished up. So I finished fabricating this swirl pot here, which I built to kind of tie into the factory coolant hoses at the front of the motor here, as you can see. And then I have these hoses back here, which are like from a Mark III TDI that I've modified to then tie into the swirl pot there. And then I have a coolant return off of the upper radiator hose, which isn't probably super necessary, but I figured any reason to get air out of the system, why not? So that's pretty much finished. Just need to install a thermostat, and then that can be buttoned up completely. The next thing I've started working on is designing this breather hose here, because I didn't want to, I don't want to run a catch can. I don't think it's going to be necessary in this setup, but because it uses these quick connect fittings, I wanted to come up with a really clean way to go from the valve cover to an AN fitting here, to then tie into the intake, which will be down kind of off here depending where the throttle body lands. So right now this is all 3D printed that I designed, and this is just PLA, but it'll be printed out of probably a nylon or something that's going to hold up to the oil and the temperature better. So that's kind of just in the stages. It's got a support bracket underneath here, which is kind of hard to see, which will get epoxied to it so it won't break. So the next thing that I did was, as far as the AC line, if you're familiar with Mark IV AC lines at all, you'll know that the the AC line that comes out of the bulkhead there actually does this dip down, and then it goes into, it dips down and then comes into this muffler, and then continues on forward. And what I did was I took a Mk4 factory, like a Mk4 180 AC line, because it comes straight and doesn't dip, and I cut out that section so that way it could have a straight shot and be a lot cleaner. So just like a small thing, I got rid of the muffler, but I don't think that'll be a problem. So the next thing that I've been working on would be the wiring. So I haven't done anything as far as like the engine harness yet, because that's going to be made, that's going to be all a brand new harness. But what I have been doing is modifying the factory harness. So as you can see, typically on Mk4s, they have a giant like ski jump, they call it, right here, that the harness is going to go through, and then you'll have your battery here, the fuse box, and everything that's up right here. And I wanted to clean up the wiring, but I also didn't want to cut and extend things, because I think that's really silly and it just introduces a bunch of spots that you could have potential failures. So basically what I did is I just found a way to kind of untape the harness, reroute it, and I was able to, if you can look down here, it's hard to see, but the harness actually, I drilled a hole under here which has a nice grommet on it, and I had the harness snake down, comes underneath the ABS module, it's underneath the motor mount here, but it's tucked away under the frame rail, so it's nice and safe, it's not going to get damaged. I didn't have to cut and extend anything, everything fits back to their factory locations when it gets to the engine. So I think that's the kind of the best way to do it without introducing any problems. And then this side wiring, I just ran it through, it kind of tucks through and it runs through the fender, which I don't love doing, but it's a very small amount of wiring, and it's mostly just for the headlights and the marker lights. So it's not a big deal, it's really small, it's gonna be tucked up and safe, it's gonna be hidden from the wheel through the fender liner, so everything's gonna be safe there, and it just really helped clean it up. I'm not like a huge fan of wire tucks. I think, like I said, I think it's silly to do stuff like that if you're gonna introduce problems, but doing it this way, it's not gonna introduce problems, it's gonna be reliable, and it looks a lot nicer. So another thing that I've been working on is, this is where the engine harness is gonna come through. So I've been designing this kind of little bulkhead adapter right here that this grommet can go into for the engine harness to sneak out, come down here, sneak along the transmission, and then bolt onto the engine. So this is just another quick little piece that I've been working on that that's gonna make the wiring nice and clean. And then I will get the rain tray here pulled up so you can see underneath there for the couple things that I've done. Tripping. So rain tray is out. There's not a lot to look at, but what you can see is I have this bracket that I just made that fits into the factory location for the OEM ECU, but then holds the EMU black that we're going to be using. So that's all in the same factory location. Next to that, I have a bracket, which is just an OEM bracket off of Mk4 that would hold the transmission control module. And that's where things, some other parts that with the harness will be able to be bolted to. So it's just like a nice clean solution for all of that. And then, like I said, all the wiring's just been cleaned up, taped all nice, routed nice. That's all like the OEM wiring. And then pretty soon I'll get started on the rest of the wiring for the engine itself. So I wanted to kind of dig into the intake manifold a little bit more, so I pulled it off the motor. So the reason I'm working with nubs on this intake manifold is because we're converting the 3.6 liter into port injection. So we're getting rid of the direct injection. So doing that, you have to have an intake manifold made. So I started working with nubs to build me a short runner intake manifold that I can use to install the port injectors. So I've been working with him for a while on this. So it's going to be a multiple piece design. So you have the lower runners here. And then we have this plate here, which will get welded to it, which you can see I've just tacked it into place for now, just for mock-up. So he's working on the rest of it, which is going to be like a dual plenum design, which will be really awesome just because we're limited on room between like the core support. It's very small, so we're going to add like the dual plenum to give us the volume needed, and just to kind of help disperse the air evenly into the cylinders. So Justin over at Nubs has been really awesome. He 3D printed a bunch of different pieces for me to test fit. These will be available when we're done to be able to buy them. But right now we're kind of still in the design phase of it. But it's coming together awesome. It's a super nice piece, and I'm super stoked that he was willing to work with me on this and make it happen.